The good news is 2 of the 3 goals mentioned in the first dev blog have been hit. So I'll talk about that a little bit and how I intend to go about the remainder. The buildings are now procedurally generated. To come entirely clean, the buildings in the first video were neither procedurally generated or placed procedurally. What you're seeing now is from the current prototype. This is the code that pieces the buildings together from simple primitives. This is the code that distributes the procedurally generated buildings over the landscape. I'm delighted by my coding progress so far. I've gone from absolute beginner to being able to achieve this since the last video. The trickiest part was instantiating the stairs from code. It's still not perfect, but it's stable and your character can walk up and down them. At the moment, the footprints of the buildings are all the same and they're currently all square. I've got a more complex layout for the buildings planned for the future, and that too is of course randomized procedurally. I'll be looking to that once the current goals are all finished, and there's quite a bit of work to do towards that yet. The terrain is now procedurally generated. The terrain in the first video was created using Xylan's H-Terrain plugin for Godot. Although what you saw was generated using Xylan's script, this was done in the editor before the game loaded. Thus, the terrain was always the same in-game, which is not my idea, or I guess your idea, of what procedurally generated actually means. The script on the H-Terrain help page allows generation at the point of game creation, which is more or less working now. So at this stage, I'm tempted to sign off as the terrain is done and ready, although by the time I come back for a second round of improvements, other terrain generation projects, such as the one from Tokusan Games and also M-Terrain, might have surpassed H-Terrain as the best bet. But again, it'll do for now. Moving on to the creation of enemies, and that's what's next. Creating enemies to kill and be killed by. Keeping it open source, a good bet looks like Make Human, which works in Blender. So you've got there an open source project working in an open source project. Nice. Question. Do I go for Boomer Shooter Doom style 2D sprites or import fully rigged 3D models? 2D is arguably easier to work with and definitely less resource hungry for the game engine. However, 3D models look better and are arguably easier to customize within the game, i.e. with different textures and that sort of thing. I've decided to at least start with 2D, with options to go down the 3D route further down the line. This very YouTube is perfect for finding Doom for Godot tutorials. Even if I change my mind regarding the 2D sprites and go for 3D, I'll learn a load of relevant stuff regarding Godot and also coding. However, I'll still start with Make Human models, rendering them out as sprites within Blender, and I'll either get animations for the Make Human models from Mixamo, or pose them myself using Doom sprites as reference. And the beauty of this approach is, once the animations are done, they can be saved to Blender's libraries for reusability with other assets. Lovely stuff. Last but not least, I want to talk about a Git repository. Oh yes. Once a basic enemy has been added, like I've already talked about, that's the 3 primary goals done. I'll set up an online Git repository at that stage so that others, maybe even you, can look at everything I've made and add to it. Git repositories are also a great way to backup as well as share projects. It's also a good opportunity to use the word Git a lot, which is always good. Thanks very much to Martin, who is not a Git, for giving me some great pointers for how to get set up with said repositories.